All right. So let's get this ball rolling. Um, Welcome to another episode of 3View, the show podcast. Do we call it a show? I don't even know. I'm already messing this up.
You call it whatever
Um,
you want to call it, my man.
you know what? It is now a game show. Spin the wheel, guys. No, so, uh, on 3View, what we do is we watch the first three episodes of any show. We kind of start with anime right now, but we watch first three episodes of any show, kind of, see how it plays out, see if it catches us, because the background of the show is basically you get three episodes to watch. You can't base something off of the first episode, but you also don't want to really watch the whole season just to see if you like it. That kind of can drag on a little bit, especially with some of these long ass seasons, 25, 30 episode seasons. So that way, we watch the first three episodes, see if they catch us. Newer shows, are these shows good? Older shows, oh man, how they remembered it? We got Dwayne, we got Kevin,
Hello.
got a little voice guy Craig. I don't know if you guys will ever see him, but fuck it, he's included until he's not. And then myself is Ryan. Today's episode is, I'm just gonna say show. It's a show. Even if we don't. Today's episode is the anime Ningen Fushin. Apparently, oh god, this long ass title. Apparently, disillusioned adventurers will save the world. That's the whole title, and that's not even the longest title I've ever read either.
No, it just feels like a mouthful.
Yeah, we're getting into some light. You should see some of the shows I have on the roulette wheel this week. So let's start with the little introduction of the show. Ningen Fushin is a fantasy-themed RPG-esque world. Like they're not technically a RPG, kind of like an SAO or dot hack series, but they follow the guidelines. So close to Goblin Slayer, where it's kind of just integrated into their story, or well, no, because Overlord was technically a video game until it wasn't. Because that makes sense what I just said. So Ningen Fushin takes place in some fantasy world where there's a bunch of dungeons apparently. Like the whole town is a labyrinth from what they explained it. And we got our crew who are the disillusioned adventurers. And we'll get into that, how that comes to play. The title is obviously a spoiler of the context, but it literally tells you how it plays out in the very first episode. So unlike Trigun, I can actually explain that part. So the origin of Ningen Fushin was actually a web-turned-light novel by Shinta Fuji. It started in January of 2019, and it's still ongoing, actually. And started getting light novel volumes in September of that year, but also started getting manga volumes in October of that same year. So it caught popularity pretty quick. I can't remember the website, but he actually originally was posting on a user. What did he say? What did it say? User-created, user-oriented posting site. A lot of people kind of get their start there nowadays, I guess. Apparently, it's a pretty popular site. I forgot to write down who was the artist for it, but I'm not gonna lie. This part of it's actually going to be a little shorter than the other episodes because I was having a hard time finding some of the background stuff on this show. Shinta Fuji, I don't believe, worked on anything prior. I think this is his first work. It's a fairly well received series. Nothing groundbreaking. The premise was the most unique part about the show, from what I understood. So we got the anime just this year. Actually, it started in January. It was, and so here's the part that I'm confused about, and I don't know if it implies that there's going to be a sequel or if it's original content. But the anime was written and directed by a different person, Itsuki Imazaki. I think that's how I wrote the name. So the fact that he was essentially writing and directing the anime is like, did it? Because I don't read the manga or the light novel, so I don't know if it word for word followed, what that was. But yeah, so Itsuki Imazaki, he wrote and directed it, and he's actually worked on a lot of smaller titles, because he actually is a part of the animation crew called Geek Toys. Geek Toys does, like I said, a lot of the smaller stuff. There are two bigger name titles that I've seen on their repertoire was Plunderer and Date Alive 4. They didn't work on the first three. They worked on 4, and they're working on 5.
Huh.
Yeah, I figured Dwayne would know more what that means than I do, because I have no clue what that actually means. Is that the 4th season? Is it like a different thing?
Both.
Okay, great.
So Date Alive started as, I believe, a visual novel that got popular and got turned into an anime, but there's several different versions of it, and I believe the 4th one is like the 4th game or 4th iteration or something. And they do callbacks to some of the older girls that pop up in it.
Okay.
But I believe that one's supposed to be all brand new content or some shit. And I think in terms of if they're an animation studio, I think that was the newest season that aired last year.
Okay.
I think is when it came back.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. But yeah, so they've done Plunderer. Plunderer wasn't, I never watched it fully, but like I've seen clips here and there. Plunderer wasn't too bad. It was just a really weird concept. That's the one where, you had like whatever, and you had a number associated to it, how many times you did it or whatever. The main dude, his initial number you saw was, how many times you got rejected, and it was like, like in the thousands. And because basically the higher the number, the more powerful you are, or some weird explanation. But then you find out, oh man, his sword has like 10 million, meaning he's killed 10 million people, and it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Weird concept, but it's not a bad watch from what I've understood.
Okay.
So here's some fun information behind the show, though. So it was produced and co-animated by the company 7. Now, certain cultured, we'll say, viewers might know who 7 is. They did a lot of hentai.
Oh.
Like, I'm talking, like, I looked up their list, and I'm like, oh. Oh.
They did a lot of cultured animation, Ryan. That's the proper term.
It's a part of the culture.
Yeah. I'm talking
required reading.
Talking lots of stuff. Like, oh my god, dude. A lot of it wasn't that bad, honestly. I looked at some of those. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, like that, and that's the crazy part, right? Before I get into the characters, that's most of the information I could find on the show. Like that's how like I went onto the Wikipedia, I went onto the fan wiki, I went on to like every named link I could click on for all these people, and it's like just not a whole lot that I was given me.
Well, it is still pretty new. It's probably, like you said, they just hit it off, so there's still stuff popping up here and there.
Yeah. They did. So it actually ended in March. So I don't know if they're going to be doing a second season. But it got like 12 episodes, and reviews for the most part were fairly positive, but nothing groundbreaking was in the show. In fact, one critique that quite a few people had was the stiff animation.
That's fair.
It had, and I'm not gonna lie, it had quite a bit of stiff animation. But I'll get into that when we get to the end of the episode discussions. Going into some of the voice acting, because we, unlike the other shows where, we had numerous characters, but I always go off of what I can find on main characters, and we had 4 main characters this time. So Nick,
Hold on before you start that part.
Go ahead. My bad.
So, do we want to jump into the first episode since all 4 main characters appear there before you start explaining them?
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Kevin, what is your opinion on that?
What was the first episode? What happened in it?
Man,
so
first
that's
episode
what we're
hurts
gonna
my
work on.
fucking feelings. That's what I'm gonna say.
That's what we're gonna work on. So our prior episodes, I didn't really describe the episodes, and so we just kind of got talking into it, and that kind of probably confuses people watching it. So we're gonna start implementing slight what would you say, intros,
Little synopsis.
Yeah,
little
there you go.
Summary of the episode.
So with episode one is essentially the world building, backstories, and introduction of our 4 main characters, because there are 4 main characters in this one. In the show, we learn how the world works to a degree. It really didn't. It explained the city and a light bit of purpose for it, but overall, I still didn't feel like it gave me a whole lot to go off of when I watched it. I don't know if you guys felt differently. For me, it felt like they tried to just throw too much into the first episode. Like I said,
Yeah.
you get some light introduction of the world. You get some light introduction of the city, which is what was it? Labyrinth City.
Yeah.
Yes.
You get a little bit of world building. You find out like, oh, the Labyrinth City is a labyrinth itself, and there's a bunch of these other mini labyrinths and dungeons inside of it that people go and take care of. And that's the part where it's kind of like where it plays like on the part where it's an MMO, but it's not an MMO to them, because they make it implied like, oh, these dungeons refresh, just like Don Maki. That's what it is. That's what I wanted. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Is they do the same thing where it's not an MMO, but the characters act just like it's an MMO. Like they level up. They talk about leveling up. They talk about learning skills. They talk about the dungeons that reset. I don't know why I'm doing 3 on both hands. That's stupid. But it's just it feels like they didn't describe it as well as Don Maki did. And I shouldn't be comparing it. It's its own thing, but because it's got that, slight comparable features, it's just why I'm doing it. So we start out with our, the main protagonist, the swashbuckler Nick. He's like, oh man, my life is great. Oh, my guild, I love my guild. I want to make it great. Oh, I got a great girlfriend. And then it just smacks you in the face. Like everything just goes wrong. It's like he got kicked out of the guild. His girlfriend broke up with him, and he basically became an idol otaku, which we'll get into that in a minute. And he through circumstances, he gets introduced to the other 3 main characters. Kevin, you had an interesting take, so I want you to go first on your opinion of the first episode.
Yeah, I mentioned to Ryan I mentioned to both you guys a little earlier in a text chat that we have, where I was just like, yo, I don't like this shit. The reason being is because it hurts my fucking feelings of what these characters have already kind of gone through. From the get-go, we get after they introduce themselves, or at least are in the same room with each other. We get a little introduction of like where their backstories are, at least for 3 of the characters in the first episode. You just feel like just these senses of betrayal, like a lot of just straight up betrayal is what it all just kind of boils down to for each character. But it's what they went through that really sucks as an ordeal. What is it? The priest guy. His hurt the most for me. He was just trying to be nice and polite to like a young girl, and she like takes it a little too far in the relationship. He's like, "Yo, I'm a man, and you're like a small child. I'm not down with that," which was very refreshing to hear.
He was a priest, so he swore to not even be in a relationship.
Yeah, like
man of the
even just aside from him being just a man and not a child toucher, he was he's also that was part of his occupation. He just couldn't be in love regardless. And she got all butthurt. That
little girl was petty as fuck.
She got hella butthurt, and then fucking
that girl was petty.
Basically gets him barred from the church, and freaking gets his ass kicked out of his own town, which I think is the worst because everyone knows you, everyone hears about what happened, and it is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, they didn't believe a word he said. They were like, "Oh, he had to be guilty. I don't know why else." It's like, bro, you guys didn't even try. Hey, but he can get it though. Let's bring that bartender lady back. I liked her. I want her back. Cool. Also, he should have totally kept the facial hair. I'm just gonna say it.
Dude, yeah, the facial hair. I was like, yo, you got rid of that? Come on.
Father Zem got screwed on that.
I'm honestly really glad they didn't go the route that it was implying. Like, yeah, sure, she accuses him of it. That's its own issues. But if this was a different show, they would have just did it.
Yeah, they would have just did it.
If this was a redo of Healer, they would have absolutely have done it.
Like, if this was a different show by a different team, they would have did it for that shock value, and I'm very glad they didn't.
The mage Tiana, her betrayal, her betrayal sucks, but like out of the 4, definitely the lightest.
Yeah.
Because
that's really one of those first world problem things.
Yeah, hers was mostly like, oh, my fiance got jealous because I was more famous and skilled than he was, so he started spreading nasty rumors, and then also I have a resting bitch face, so people don't want to approach me.
Well, didn't she also get disavowed by the school she was getting her tutelage from?
So, see, that's the thing is unless they talk about it in a later episode, nothing was said.
Yeah, it's kind of just implied with her. Nothing was truly said. That was more implication on my part.
Based on how it reacted with her father, where like he looked like he was scolding her and then didn't even look at her leave, I think what happened was with the fiance, he, because he was like, oh, you're always bragging, blah, blah, blah. I think he was talking, I think the engagement was supposed to benefit her family, and since, he called it off because of this and that,
oh yeah,
she probably got blamed, and because she got blamed, she couldn't go to the school anymore, and so she probably had to resign, and that's why she got kicked off to fuck all.
That's right. The olden time thinking of getting married. It's not about the love. It's about what kind of stable we can get when you guys are together. It's about the dowry. It's always about the dowry.
Absolutely. So while she got betrayed pretty bad, of the 4, hers was definitely the lightest. But yeah, dude needs to chill. Like Tiana, I actually kind of like Tiana. Not a great character, nothing unique, but I definitely liked her.
Yeah.
Didn't deserve that. None of them deserve whatever happened to him.
Yeah, not at all. I think out of all of them so far, I think like Nick, I was just, you know what? Go ahead. I was just about to mention him. Go for it.
I was gonna say, yeah, Nick would probably be the closest one to kind of deserve, but like even then, it's like he was just excited and wanted his guild to take off, and so that's probably why he started to just low key start taking charge where he could, and to get kicked out for that, it's like, come on, guy, you're being a little petty. But
I mean, like he was just excelling. He was just excelling at what he thought was the right thing to do. And his team leader was like, "Yo, dog, there can only be one of us. Stop riding my steeds, dog."
There's very clearly something else going on with that too. I'm sure it gets explained later on, but the way that they frame that shot and the way that he brings up how he's not acting like a real adventurer. There's something else going on there.
Well, to be fair, when you do see him, how he breaks down his actions and stuff, with the crew as in later episodes, he doesn't seem very adventure-esque. He's very like black and white about the whole shtick, which is pretty cool because you'd think he'd be like really enchanted by it, but no, he's like totally like brass tacks about everything. He's like, oh yeah, a slime can do this, goblins are like this, and you just gotta go ahead and break off their skulls and they're okay, and we can sell it for money. And it's like, oh shit, like he knows his shit.
And it sucks to see him have PTSD from getting kicked out. Like when when he was gonna try and start an adventure with that one dude, and then just immediately like freaked out. I was like, oh man, my mentor and father figure said I wasn't cut out to be an adventurer, and just kind of let the opportunity pass him by.
Yeah.
But hey, that idol girl's pretty. What was her name? Agate or whatever. She was very pretty. I liked her.
Idol.
Go ahead.
I was gonna that was something I wanted to touch on. The weird little comedy gimmick thing that they're trying to go for, I don't think is as strong as it's being pushed. Where they all have their own little quirks with them. I don't remember anybody's fucking name, so hold on. The main character being an Idol fan, that's fucking weird. That's just that's fucking.
It was
weird.
kind of jarring. It like all of a sudden he's just like, oh yeah, I'm a big ass fangirl of Idol.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, I guess. I mean, there are people like that.
I want to touch on that, but I want to wait till the second episode, because there's something in the second episode that really bothered me. So,
okay.
And it ties in with the whole Idol bit.
Okay. But yeah, okay. He's they do the little the background thing, and he's sitting there and explains how he got into the Idol part. She just happens upon him. Okay, that's weird, but that's not completely out of the blue. Oh, hey, come to this show. It'll cheer you up. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. Maybe she's trying to do a thing. I'm an idol. We want to help people. It's like, okay. He literally, there's no framing that more than a day has passed. He literally just got betrayed by two of the most important people in his life. This random person's coming up and it's like, hey, come watch this thing. I won't betray you. Goes and watches the show. I'm obsessed with her now. She is my.
That was really jarring for me.
It's so fucking weird.
That I thought we were doing Sorry, I just want to throw this in. I thought we were doing like
No, go ahead.
Like in that first episode, like like back and forth. Like this just happened not that long ago, and now all of a sudden I'm into this. But this is how it actually happened. Mm-hmm. The pacing in that felt really jarring and just disorganized.
And
yeah, it did not feel like a whole lot of time had passed.
Yeah, and that's why I said before we started getting the episodes, like the pacing just felt weird, because in the first episode alone, you're introduced to the main character and you're like, oh, you think he's the main character? I mean, he's the main character, but then you also get thrown, and it's only like, because without commercials, each episode's like 23 minutes or something.
Yeah,
something like that.
In the 23 minutes, you're given his backstory, Tiana's backstory, Zem's backstory, some world building, and what's going on, but it's just kind of like condensed. Like I feel like
go
ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish.
I was gonna say what I feel like they should have done, especially based on not gonna talk too much about it until we get to it, but how they did episode 3. I feel like what they should have done was have first episode Nick and then how they met, second episode be Tiana and Zem, and then third episode how they did it with Kuran.
Okay. Yeah, the third episode when we get there is definitely a lot stronger in pace.
Yeah.
I can see why they did the first episode the way they did, because it only got 12 episodes in the season.
12, 13.
12, 13. So there's probably no guarantee there was going to be a second season when they were signed on. Probably had to get a lot of information out. Makes sense. I think piecemealing in the world building would have been a little bit better than how they did it. Giving you the base at the start, I think, was good. Just kind of like, oh yeah, this is the fantasy world, and this is how it works, and this town just happens to be a labyrinth. It's quirky, and I'm down for how they did the backstories all in the first episode, because it puts us on the level playing field. I'm sure they're gonna get fleshed out a little bit more. But I think that's also why I don't like the weird little quirks, because like you said, they throw a lot of information at you at first, and so we start with him. He's in the fucking idol stands, and then it cuts back to how he got to the idol stands, and it's like, okay, well, why is he in the idol stands? Why do we need this scene? And then we meet the crew at the bar, and then we hear what's her name? Fucking the mage,
Tiana.
We hear her backstory, and it's like, okay, that's make a long story short, that's all condensable. That makes sense. Why is she at the racetracks? Oh, she now has a gambling addiction. Oh, okay. All right. And then
found a random ass ticket blow onto her leg, and now she has a gambling addiction.
Yeah, it's okay, it's one thing, maybe just show that to us instead of tell us that one. That one could have easily have been a
show don't tell.
In the second episode when we get to it, yeah, they could have did like a little bit where she might have gotten a little too excited over a lottery ticket or some shit like that, you know. And then same with the priest. His gimmick is that he likes the women a little too much, and they don't really do anything with him in terms of that. No, so like out of all of them,
I didn't even realize it was implied that he paid for money with what's her face until they were like, oh, so you like the women too much? Like, oh. I mean, yeah, they mentioned that he smelled like he came from a brothel when he first walks in, but
I hella forgot about that.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to get at. It's because he has one of the worst situations happen to him out of that group. You would think his demeanor would change a little more than it did. You would think, okay, well, if his gimmick is that he's gonna like the women a little too much, you think he'd be a little more of a scumbag.
Yeah,
maybe still
lecherous.
Keep the virtue. Yeah, maybe keep the virtue of like, oh, someone's down, he's still there to help. He's still the priest that he once was.
No, he's hella virtuous.
But then a lady comes around and is like, hey, what you doing tonight? You know, I can understand keeping that good nature out of him, but like just his whole world falling apart in the span of 2 days because he refused a fucking 13-year-old. Like, come on, there would be a little bit of spite in that man. There would be a little bit of spite in that man.
I would absolutely. I'd probably punt the next little kid I saw. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, oh man, yeah. On a personal level, his hurt a little bit more than it needed to. That felt a little like personal.
Betrayal by a little girl. Like, it never gets any easier.
Yeah.
Also, when you get ousted for the rape, that's like, come on, man, that's just not cool.
No, it's not. Not at
that
all.
Little girl's a fucker.
Yeah, like just because she got rejected like one little time, and it's like, you know. It's like, bro, you're maybe 14 max. I mean, probably age of consent in a medieval times is 10. I don't fucking know. But, like, chill. Chill, you horny little whatever, 12-year-old, I think. I don't know.
Is it fair to call her horny? I mean, all she wanted was, like, a genuine relationship with this man.
She mentioned she wanted to be treated more like a woman.
Oh, she did. You're right.
A woman. That was the word.
Because she tried to lift her skirt. Remember?
Oh God, did she? I thought she was holding up more of those like raisinets or whatever.
She had the herbs and stuff, and she put them on the table. But then she started like slowly lifting her skirt, and he's like, "Whoa!"
Put that shit down.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah. But what was interesting about the first episode is you got those rushed intros for the two, and the semi-rushed or the semi-explained backstory for Nick, because I think his gets brought up more and more as the episodes progress. But we didn't get anything for Karan. We just got her like kind of like comedically drunk explaining certain things, but you're like, oh, okay, I don't know what she's on about.
Yeah, everyone got super blasted. I fucking love that bit. I'm like, yeah, that's how it should end.
That was a good ending to that. Everyone enjoying each other's company. What's the solace among the consoling I can't remember the phrase, but basically, those that go through a bad time finding solace in each other.
Yeah.
They did do a small little scene drawn of her backstory, and it was supposed to like be that little tease thing for when they actually get to it. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I figured that because we got the priest and his was as bad as it was, I had like a small feeling in my stomach that hers was gonna go in a very, very
Similar
direction.
direction.
And episode 3 very thankfully did not go in that direction. So when we get there, we'll get there.
Yeah. Jumping into episode... I forgot to list the title of episode 1, too. Episode 1 was Disillusioned Adventurers. Episode 2...
They have title drops?
Yeah.
I don't
Episode
remember.
2 is The Ultimate Party is Formed, Survivors. That's a pretty sick party name, I'm not going to lie to you.
The Survivor
forgot that was
group?
their
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. So in this episode, they form their party after, coming together and be like, hey, this ain't right. We need to have our hobbies right. And so they form a party together. Four disillusioned people who, talking about the first episode is how they synced. Oh, I can't trust nobody. That anime trope 101 right there. That's what this anime is. It's just how many anime tropes can we fit in? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they're bad. I'm not gonna say that. They're just
But they're tropes.
predictable. Yeah.
I mean, that's what you like about
in this
tropes, that they're
episode, they
predictable.
True. A lot of people get tired of tropes. Certain ones I love.
I think the way how it works is that as long as you can do it tastefully, or at least like pace it well, you're in the clear.
Yeah.
Because like we
It depends on how they're used.
like just going back with episode 1 real quick, like you guys said, like the pacing and stuff, it's it gets a little silly. They kind of break it down to you pretty quickly, and they slow it down a little bit, and they jump back into it. It all kind of flies around. With episode 2, I feel like the pacing kind of gets like a little even, and we really get to enjoy a little bit more of not just these characters, but also the world they're involved in, which I think is really fun.
See, I'm glad that the second episode gave us, a bit more world building and a decent of character development. But then I also feel like the second episode had almost the same amount, if not a little more, rushed story than the first episode did, because they kind of just they almost force fed you, how certain things work without showing to a degree how things work. And it's hard to explain what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard to explain what I mean.
No, I get what you're going at with that.
I'm a
one,
little
because
lost, but I want to hear more.
Yeah, this episode was the party is formed episode, so they're trying. They're disillusioned, but they decide they're gonna try to form this party, and so they're going to. This is the part where the team starts building. Mm-hmm. This is the building exercise.
Yeah.
And it's also a way for them to slow things down a little bit in one area to explain something else.
And see, that's where it comes, right? It's like, so yes, they slowed down to explain how the party wants to be, and how kind of the characters are, but the rushed part of it comes from the fact, and I'm not gonna be lying to you, like, I have notes for each episode so I can have some discussion points to focus on. Mm-hmm. I only have 3 lines of notes for episode 2. So episode 2, okay. Going back to last week's episode of Trigun, right? Episode 2 was kind of the weaker of the 3. That's the same instance of this show. Episode 2 was definitely the weaker of the 3. But to the point where at least Trigun still had a fun story going on with it. It was just, of the 3, it was the forgettable. But this one, I forgot I was watching it at some point.
Okay.
I looked up, I'm like, oh, that's right, the show is going, so I had to rewind. And my reason for that, right? I'll take a good portion of talk for this episode, probably. My reason for that is because in the same episode 2, you learn why they form the party, what their little rules are of like stay out of each other's business, don't steal, this and that. They're learning how to fight the slimes, and because Tiana and Zem have never been in fights. Nick is the more veteran, and Kuran is the powerhouse. So they're in one episode they're learning to be where they need to be for a lineup, because obviously the mage needs to be kind of in the middle, healer in the back, powerhouse in the front, and they're all over the place. So Nick had to line up, and then he was describing how you take out the slimes, basically take the crystal. And immediately the mage forgets about, certain things, and she trips on one and gets spat in the face by the other, gets pissed off, shoots an ice bolt at the dragon chick, Karan, who then immediately they're like, oh, I thought I could trust you. Now I can't trust you at all. And they're like, well, I can't trust you either. And then not even 10 minutes later, they're back to like, oh, we're so cool with each other. It's we got that understanding, not understanding. And it's just like that could have that story bit could have waited maybe another episode, and maybe been more of the episode versus. So if they did the party forming and kind of did the training montage sort of thing, and then maybe next episode, or maybe at the end of the episode or something, that whole ice blast hits, and then that kind of where they end, like Karan's like, I thought I could trust you, but then I can't, and then bam, credits, and then the next episode is them building up that trust again. I feel like that would have been a little better pacing. But it just, they did it all in one, while also trying to tell you how to form a party and how this world works and how the dungeons need to be done, while also the very next dungeon was showing, Nick and Karan's skills, and they immediately were like, oh, well, jokingly, I was like, I don't know if I can trust Karan or Nick, because he lied about how good he is at this stuff. So it's just, the pacing just felt weird to me. Like, it just wasn't.
I get it.
Does that make a little more sense now that I explained it a little more, Kevin?
Yeah, it does. I
don't
definitely
have to agree,
see. No. I see where you're coming from. I definitely do. I just feel like because the pace was a little bit more actiony, that I was able to kind of keep along with it a little bit better. But then, like you said, like it was a little bit jarring when they would like start doing this back and forth about trust, no trust. Trusting and trust of others is a trust of trust, and it's like, all right, shut up. Just go back to killing monsters just for a couple more minutes, please.
That dude, the shy squirrel cat receptionist, I'd die for her. I loved her. But who I would absolutely die for, I almost would binge this series just for Karan, because she is fucking adorable.
That's
she's a powerhouse.
The Dragoneer, right?
Girl.
The dragon.
Yeah.
I like her. She's great.
She is a powerhouse. She is a dragon. She has red hair. She's hot. She's goofy. She's fucking. Be real, please. Like, be real for me. Just you don't even have to like me. Just be real and let me like. Oh yes, your precious pet. Like, I love her. I love Karan. But that's the basic premise of that was basically the entire episode, just described in short little summary. Like there was some character development, but like just not. And I get it's only the second episode, but they're trying to like you said, Dwayne, they probably weren't sure if they'd even get greenlit for another season, if they even are, because of the fact how they're doing the writing. But they're trying to give you backstory for 4 different, what they're trying to portray as complex characters, but also trying to keep in their 12 episode time frame, and that's really hurting them. And that's not their fault. There's always restrictions with animes. Any animes, like the Twin Star Exorcist anime, the manga's still going. The anime lasted 1 season because the producers are like, well, or whoever in charge, I'm not sure, was like, well, you got this much time. So they had to throw in, and they were way, like, I think the anime came out when they were only on volume 8, and they're now volume 30. And so they only lasted so long. But so they were probably trying to crunch what they could within what they had. So before we get into episode 3, one thing that, how I said I wanted to wait till episode, I keep playing with these scissors. It's a good thing my karambit knife is on the other end of this table, or else I'd probably be twirling that and stabbing myself in the cheek or something.
Oh my goodness! I need to get you a fidget cube, man.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, then you'd hear all the clicking on the microphone.
There are silent options. There are silent options on a fidget cube. That's what makes them so versatile and epic.
So with the idol bit from episode 1, right? Like how it was just really jarring. How, like, because it didn't even look like a fantasy themed idol. Like it was just straight up a Japanese.
No, that was.
Yeah, it was like a Japanese idol.
It was just a thing.
And see, that's the thing another thing that bothered me in episode 2 was that first dungeon with the slimes. The whole dungeon, aside from when you got an outside view of what it looked exactly like a high school.
It did. Oh, thank God somebody else said that.
They were in a hallway with windows. Granted, they had windows above them, which it wasn't a ceiling, so obviously it wasn't like a high school. But like the whole setting looked like a high school, and I'm like, where are we right now? Like, what is the design of this world?
Maybe it's the budget.
Because literally, I that could be, and that's something I wanted to tie in because the animators, Geek Toy, I'm not gonna discredit them. Like I said, they had some fun animes, but Plunderer had the same thing. It was set in a fantasy-like world, and then had some modern-day stuff. And granted, there's a plot reason for that I'm not going to explain because that's not the anime we're watching. But there was a plot reason for that. So it made a little bit more sense than this did. This one was literally, they're walking through what looks like a high school. There's an idol group. There, why? That's the part where it's like, I needed a little bit more world building, or at least a slight explanation. Because it was and it also could be because, going back to the co-animators 7, they do a lot of school themes for their cultured shows. So that might have played a part. I don't know. And it's not that I'm going to say it was a bad choice, because it's an easy choice. School hallways are very, at least in anime, and I don't know, I've never been to a Japanese high school before, so I don't think I would be allowed in one either. But at least in animes, they're always seen as these fairly blank canvases because it gives you the opportunity to focus on the characters. That's what a lot of things with these animes do, is they always like to try and go with a more bare bone background so you focus on the characters.
Well, to be fair, it worked.
Komi can't communicate. Yeah, it did. You focused on the 4 very uniquely designed characters versus, the beige and orange background. Weird color combination for a background, by the way. So that's kind of where the whole thing, it's like, what setting are we in? Because we got idols, dungeons, monsters, schools. What's it supposed to look like?
It's fantasy with a twist.
I don't know if Kev wants to chime in his thoughts for episode 2, but yeah, I was gonna say fantasy. It's very possible. Like, we don't know anything about the light novel. We don't know anything about the web. There could be a story reason for this too. It could also just be that he likes idols and thought those were fun dungeon designs and said fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, what works, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would like to go last on episode 2 because I understand where you were getting at, Ryan. But completely disagree, and I think episode 2 is the stronger of the 3. But that's me.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's kind of where I was starting with at first. I mean, Ryan's kind of dissuaded me a bit in the way I thought about it, because it's like, oh, you know what? Yeah, there was a couple of times where it's like we could really do with less of this and some more action. But at the same time, like it kept my interest going. Like the few times the interest got heightened for me was when we got backstories of our main crew in episode 1, and when they all shouted out their little mantra at the same time on accident at the bar. In episode 2, we get a lot more action. We get a lot more breakdown of just like how these people are thinking. We get more from Nick, which is pretty fun, and we just get a little bit more of an idea of how this world kind of works out. That's kind of all I really got to say. I had a really good time with episode 2 compared to 1. So Dwayne, you go ahead and take it away.
I mean,
all right. So, with episode 2 being the more, like Kev said, the more action-oriented one, the action definitely is where I got to watch a lot more of the animation shine. Yes, there is some stilted animation in here. You could tell that they were on a time crunch in some cases, and there was probably some animators that just didn't know what to do, or the director didn't know how to do the shot. But we did get, in certain shots, really good. Bless you, Bella. We did get really good shots, really good animation for like the Dragon Girl's attack at with the ogre near the end of the episode. That was a really good animated set. Sure, it could have been better, but from what they were giving us, it was really good. When what's his name, Nick? Why the fuck is his name Nick? We're in a fantasy world, and you got Tiana, fucking what's his name, Fen,
Zem,
and what's the Dragonkin's name? Karan. Okay, these are fantasy names, and then fucking Nick shows
Hell
up.
yeah, Nick.
Anyway,
our regular normal
going
boy.
Through, when they were fighting the goblins, it was I don't know who was directing that scene, but it was really fluid. It was short, but it was really fluid.
It was.
When he was slicing through that.
Yeah.
I'll give it to that. Yeah.
There's some good shots in there. The whoever's directing, I don't know if there was a couple lead directors in certain areas and whoever was the lead animator in certain areas, but there's some talent in there. If they get a chance to shine, maybe later on in the series when they have a better handle of how the characters are supposed to move, it'll look better. But I liked getting to see them in a different element other than my life sucks, and so getting to see Nick explain and do the little tutorial thing. Sure, it's it could have been given out a little better with the way that the world building aspect of it was introduced, but it works in my opinion. The two have never been in a dungeon. What's the first thing they do? Let's go to a level 1 dungeon. We are going to fight slimes. This is how you beat them. Oh, they're very weak. Well, of course they're very weak. Despite never being in a dungeon, our professions have gotten us to a point to where we are at a level where these things won't bother us. But you've never been in a dungeon, so we need to explain how a dungeon works, because if you just rush in, you're going to get fucked up. It's adventuring 101 kind of thing.
A la Goblin Slayer.
Yeah. Yeah. And, so of course, Tiana, being the noble woman, excelling in magic, can kill any of those slimes literally with one spell. Could probably level that whole dungeon by herself. She's gonna get a little antsy, a little irritated, a little cocky. She trips on the one slime, the other one spits on her face. She's gonna get irritated. She's gonna show them what's what. Oh yeah, sure. There's no kill like overkill. Let me just fire off one of my stronger spells. And not paying attention, of course, is going to aim it towards whoever was in front. And like you said, Ryan, they're still learning positioning. So that fucked up and put Karan in a position to where she thinks she's being attacked. Which is another hint towards her backstory, which I'm glad they did in episode 3. Because if they dragged that out another episode, I don't think I would have cared. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think
Very
I would
fair.
have cared.
Very
And so, I think if they had saved that for a little later in the episode instead of doing it so early, the betrayal aspect would have worked. Not necessarily end on it, but definitely use it to transition better into Karan's backstory. I think that would have been a better way to do that. But it's only natural that something like that was going to happen. It's only natural that at some point they were going to distrust each other.
It's not unusual to lose trust in everyone.
Exactly. Especially since they were all betrayed the way that they were. And taking a page out of Konosuba, even though it's an isekai, so it's its own little thing, there's a montage segment in it where it shows the two main characters go to work, go eat dinner, go to bed, and each day, though it's the exact same, they do the same thing at work with slight variations here and there, eat the same things at dinner with slight variations here and there, they go to bed. And the variations of going to bed is you see them upgrade where they're staying. So at first they're sleeping on hay. Then they get blankets because they can afford blankets. Then they get a little bed because they can afford a bed, etc., etc., etc. I think if instead of having them run through 3 dungeons in rapid succession and say that was it, if they had did the slime dungeon was complete, no problems. Small little montage into the goblin dungeon. Small little dungeon montage into something else, and then back to the goblins again to fight the ogre, I think would have been a little bit better with the pacing. But they were on top of the world building. They wanted to work out the characters as well. So we know they were betrayed. So now how do they start building trust in one another in a way that is believable? Airing out grievances, I like that. Just saying, hey, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm bad at. I know I can't trust humanity, but if we're going to be a team, I need you to know where my weaknesses are. So if something happens, you can either cover it or make sure that I am aware that that's going to happen. I like that idea. They want to trust each other, and so they're doing that specifically to try to trust each other, knowing full well they could be betrayed at any moment. And I'm so glad the slime scene didn't end up in the obvious way that it could have gone.
Yeah, it's done pretty tastefully.
I'm so glad. It's so tastefully. She tripped over the slime. That could have been a very easy oops, it's all over me scene. Same with it spitting on her face. I am so glad that they didn't do that. Because I don't think I could have taken the rest of the show seriously if they did that.
That is 100% fair.
Very fair.
And then going back to the goblins to finish up, I really did like how they fought the goblins. That they just kind of started to overwhelm them. That is a good way to just kind of a good way to show the two most inexperienced just how bad things can go if you're not prepared. They were ready for goblins. They were ready for goblins to gang up on them. They were not necessarily ready for an ogre. Mm-hmm. And so the first thought was even, hey, can we even handle this? Should we try to leave? In which the response is, if we leave, the nearest village is going to get fucked up. So we kind of don't have a choice here. And those two being inexperienced, they wouldn't have thought of any of that. Mm-hmm. And so I really like them showing off that kind of stuff. So that's why, in my opinion, the second episode was a lot stronger. I do think Karan should have been a little less trusting by the end of it. I think she started trusting a little too soon. I think it would have been better if, again, if they led into her backstory, which is the start of episode 3, and then she starts trusting them more at the end of episode 3. I think that would have been a better way to write that.
I think I agree completely. I think that would have been better pacing. Yeah, it's explained in episode 3 that she is very easily trusting, even when certain things happen. But it just.
But even still,
because the premise of the show, you would think it would make her warm up a little slower.
Not even just the premise of the show. Because I'm done with season 2. Episode 2. So I'll lead into episode 3 with this. Episode 3 is the episode where we see Karan's backstory, and basically she comes into town. Her whole tribe is passed down through generations. They have been told, hey, we need to get strong enough to go and help out who we believe is the chosen one. So her story is that she makes it into one of the towns, meets a man, I forget his fucking name, doesn't really matter.
Kalios.
And she thinks he is the chosen one. She thinks he is the one she's supposed to dedicate her life to. This man is shown to be virtuous, trusting, all the stuff you would expect him to be based on the bishy look they gave him. And she's the strongest of the group, which makes sense. She's a dragonkin. They're naturally stronger than most people. And she wants to put her full trust into that. It's a tradition thing. She likes him. There's hints that there might be more liking in there, like a little bit of an affection thing, but she really wants to trust him. They go into a dungeon. It is implied that that they know what's going on in this dungeon, that they've been there before, they read up on it or something. They fight this very, very tough boss monster, a giant snake in a jar. And it's, for lack of a better term, because they're using a lot of video game stuff, its mechanic is that if you hit the jar, it gets mad and attacks. While it's in the jar, it doesn't take damage. And when it senses it's going to die, it shoots out a very, very powerful poison. And so, her betrayal was, well, she's strong, right? She can take it, right? And they let her take the full front of the poison, and they leave her for dead.
Another thing, too, to remember is that, I think it was episode 2, when they met the guild head lady.
Yeah.
They said that she came back from a C rank dungeon.
Did they mention it was C rank? I didn't know what the
they mentioned that she came back solo from a C rank dungeon. Granted, if she had to fight anything after the snake, I don't remember it implying that, but that was a whole ordeal.
But according to them, that's very unheard of.
Yeah, especially because you're starting at what they start at G, and they moved up to F after defeating the first two dungeons?
Something
that's
like
correct.
that. Because I think G is essentially 0.
Mm-hmm. So G, F, if they do E, D, C. That was compared to where they're at right now. That's
it's pretty up there.
Yeah. So first off, unless Kevin, do you want to go before me? I can go last.
On this episode?
Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Why is everyone so fucking scummy? Like,
it's one of those.
The merchant, the everyone's little backstories, like.
You never trust merchants. That one I'll give it. Merchants can be real bad.
Merchants are assholes.
Especially if they smell fresh meat.
Oh,
she clearly didn't know what she was doing, so he was like, I can get some fucking money out of this.
I get it, but damn, bro, like, everyone is so scummy in this world. One thing, too, by the way, the reason I knew not to trust Kalios is because he looked like a Fortnite skin.
Oh my fucking god, you're right. Holy shit.
Actually, you know what? I have that Fortnite skin. If you put black hair on him, that is the oh god, what the hell's his name? Gino from the last battle pass, because I had that battle pass. The
Jesus fucking Christ.
Chosen, I think. Oh, that was loud. He looks like a Fortnite skin. Like, I swear
he does, and I hate it.
I'm gonna post a picture of him, and I'm gonna post a picture of that one Fortnite skin I'm talking about in our chat, and I'm gonna show you what I mean. He looks just like him. And I'm like, I don't like the way he looks like a Fortnite skin. Is something bad's gonna happen? And sure enough, you never trust a Fortnite skin. But why would he screw over a loyal powerhouse? Like, that girl looked like she would die for you, and you tried to actually do that by betraying her?
I think what they wanted was her treasure. She was clearly the dragon hoarding thing. Her bag had a lot of gems in it from the shot they showed. I'm fairly certain that's what they wanted. They wanted that and whatever spoils came from that snake. And they knew they couldn't just take it from her. Because she'd beat the shit out of all of them.
I guess, but like, I mean, think about it. She tanked that snake hit. I'd been like, you know what? You're coming with you. Even if we have to do that a couple more times, we're gonna beat this out of you. Like, be a smarter villain. That's what you got to do, people. Is you got to be smarter villains, not that guy. Don't be a Fortnite skin.
Well, they didn't expect her to live.
True.
To be fair,
true.
She didn't look like she'd make it.
That's intimidating, by the way, is the fact that she did live. She was over here crawling out with, like, I would be, if I ever found out she lived and I tried to do that shit, I'd be gone. I'd be like, nope, bye, different job.
Side note, I would very much like it if Karan didn't sound childish like she is. I understand that she's supposed to be innocent and inexperienced, and that is why they gave her a childlike voice. I would have preferred it wasn't as childlike. That's just me. That's a me thing.
That's fair. I think the reason why I like Karan is because of that. Like, that's always just been something I've adored out of characters. It's a dumb trope, but it's what I adored. Kevin, I think your favorite character of the episode, I'm gonna say it right now, was Fifth's, the solo eater dude.
He was chill. I like that he was just kind of, he was very laid back.
Favorite. Like, just like, I thought he was so cool. And he was, I loved how he figured out what was going on, and he was like low key looking out for her.
Yeah, he just kept dropping hints to her throughout the time we got to hang out with her, and it was kind of cute. I was like, oh, he notices this guy's all right. He's cool in my book.
Yeah. I would honestly, I'd follow a whole show just on him. Really, like, he seemed like a really cool character to follow.
Yeah, I hope as the show continues, he at least makes another appearance, and hopefully he's not a piece of shit like everyone else seems to turn out to be in the show.
I would hope so too, because they were so inclined to bring the idol back, and that was supposed to be the main character's reason to try to start trusting people again. This guy at least had I think this guy had a better opportunity for that with Karan. Just always, he was pretty much trying to help her out in his own way.
Yeah,
and I think that's better than how the idol thing was handled.
I like
yeah, it's not so ham-fisted.
I like him because, what was that?
Sorry, I was saying it's not so ham-fisted like with the idol. The idol just kind of like dropped in, just like, yo, what up, Manic Pixie Girl here? Here's a card. Have fun. See you, fucker. And this guy casually kind of strolls in, and then we get to kind of get an explanation as to who he was, what he's doing, and why he's out on his own, and it's cool.
Yeah, because, granted, he obviously didn't know her financial situation, so he was just like, oh yeah, I'd recommend this food. Oh, I recommend we should get a new cape so we're not dirty when we go into a thing. Oh man, we should definitely do that. I was like, oh, he's watching out for her. And obviously he's, because she's not being direct, he's trying not to be direct. And she's also very clueless, and she's like, oh, I should totally take notes of what he's saying. Yeah, because he's directing at you. As much as you don't like the idol bit too much, I'm assuming, Dwayne. She
it's
was
just
also
weird.
no,
and out of place.
it is weird. I think she was a pretty good MVP of that episode because she was dropping some really good facts for the guy to follow.
Yeah, and I was gonna wait till we got there, but it's why I brought up the whole childlike thing. Because the way it resolves with Karan's response about the pendant and everything makes her sound more mature. Her voice doesn't match it, and I think that's what bothers me the most.
Did you watch at least a clip or something of the English dub? Because I think you probably would like the English dub of her voice a little better.
I watched
I
the English
get around
dub.
to the English dub.
That's what I watched.
Yeah.
Okay, how did you like their voices?
I actually liked
Being
them
nitpicky
quite a
here.
bit. I didn't have any real struggles or troubles keeping up with everybody. Everyone was distinct in their own way, shape, or form. Everyone sounded nice. I don't have any serious qualms with the English dub. If you prefer English dubs because of reading issue with like subtitles and stuff like that, I think it's a pretty good dub.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I've been meaning to give the dub a try just because I want to hear the difference. I've been doing that a lot more with the shows now that it's more available. I do think the Japanese voices fit who they had, except for Karan, but that's a me thing. I felt like her should have been. It doesn't have to necessarily be a deeper, mature woman's, just deeper than it was.
Yeah.
That's a me thing.
So let's talk about the voice actors now that we got through what the characters, who they are, and what they do. So I'm gonna start with Nick, and we'll go down in a certain order. Nick,
Okay.
his Japanese voice actor is Yusuke Kobayashi. And this dude is one of the definitions of main characters. Here are just 3 of his notable roles, okay? And some of these might not really mean much to Kevin, but Dwayne, I think you know all of these. Subaru from Re:Zero.
Okay.
Senku from Dr.
Alright.
Stone.
Fucking alright.
Byleth from Fire Emblem.
I haven't heard the Japanese voice for Byleth, but okay. I was wondering why his voice sounded familiar, and it's fucking Senku. Alright.
His English voice actor though is interesting. Because his name is my handwriting is god awful. His first name is Kieran. Kieran. I can't remember how I wrote his last name. Flitton? Looks like an F. He did not have a page, so I don't know.
Oh shit! Hold on, that name sounds really familiar.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything on him right away. I could have probably tried to search up more in a different, like on different websites and stuff, but like from what I searched on the wiki and the Wikipedia and all that stuff, I couldn't find anything. And I wasn't sure if he had an IMBD. Is that the site?
IMDb.
Okay, I think I'm thinking of a different person. Kieran, what did you say his last name was? Flitton.
I think that was his.
He might be new.
Yeah, he might be. So there really wasn't much to go off of, and not that he was bad. I think he sounded pretty good, but I don't have any reference of him. I don't no age, no how long has he been doing this, stuff. So it's like if he's a brand new voice actor, I think he's got good places to go.
Okay.
With Tiana, her Japanese voice actress was Sayumi Watabe. Her biggest notable role, which I'm not even going to lie to you, is not a notable role, was the character Freezing. That's her first name. I forget her last name. From Combatants Will Be Dispatched.
Okay.
And her English voice actress is actually a little bit more of a bigger name. Christina Kelly. She played Yamato in Kantai Collection.
Okay.
She was Alpha in Eminence in Shadow. And also Mine from Akame ga Kill. Those are some of the bigger names that I recognized. Some of the other animes she's been in I've never heard of, or I don't know who the characters were.
Well, to give us some stuff to add to the list.
Oh, absolutely, Dwayne. There are so many animes to, not even like even if we were to move away from other animes, there's like other shows like cartoons and stuff. There's so many things to add. Like we will not ever in our lives be out of content.
Just you wait. I've got trash waiting.
Oh, I'm sure you do. It's going on the roulette wheel, so it might be a minute till it gets picked.
Oh, don't worry. We'll get there.
Oh, when it's Dwayne's birthday month, he's just going to put all trash anime that we're going to have to force to watch.
Who wants to join my Bible Black Club?
No. No.
Nah. I've got others. Don't you worry.
We'll do R. We're not doing A.
You're joking,
anyway.
Right? You're absolutely joking, right?
About not seeing Bible Black, or
it's peak fiction though.
I don't know about that. Look, I've gone this far in my life without having seen a Bible Black. I'm okay with it going a little bit longer.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Kevin, the animation on Bible Black is ace.
If we hit the spin, if it's on the board and we hit the spin, I'm just not gonna be in the episode that night.
It's not.
You're gonna be busy that week. Gonna go on vacation.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a small trip.
I'm not putting adult shows.
Are you sure?
You know what? Yes, I'm sure. Jesus Christ. I'm not even going to put, like, you know, as fun as it is, I'm not even going to put, God, what the hell is Dwayne, what is the proper name for the Monster Brothel review anime?
Oh, Interspecies Reviewers?
Yes.
That one's actually good.
That one's really good, but it has nudity. Hey, stop.
Is this...
There's
a censored version.
It's censored.
Don't sound so disappointed.
Oh, I'm not disappointed. Yeah, I'm just you're trying to call it censored.
Yeah, it's so
getting
censored.
off topic. Stop talking about porn, Dwayne, you little horny bastard. Going on to Kuran. Her Japanese voice actress is actually, I don't know if she was new because I think she had some roles throughout, but Sayaka Kikuchi, nothing notable. It was a lot of small roles, like it was Village Girl, or Little Girl A, or Storekeep B, stuff like that. Like, only a handful of her characters that she voiced had actual names. So I was
notable ones.
Nothing I can remember. She was the female warrior, the big buff warrior chick at the end of Goblin Slayer.
I didn't get to the end of Goblin Slayer.
Okay. That's one I had. But her English voice actor, is kind of up there. Brittany Korbowski. I don't know if that name sounds familiar to any of you, but Dwayne, she was in One Piece. Do you want to take a guess?
She was in One Piece. I haven't watched dub One Piece since episode 200, so that could be just about anyone.
She was a fairly prominent character to a point.
A fairly prominent character to a point. Fuck. Is she Big Mom?
No.
Ish.
Well, this is unfair. He hasn't watched that dub since like fucking 800 episodes
But
ago.
See, that's the thing is, it would definitely be an episode he saw with her in it.
Was she Vivi?
No. Actually, no, I don't. What? She was Going Mary.
How the fuck was I supposed to?
Thank you.
I just wanted to see how long it. I just wanted to see how long you were gonna guess before you gave up.
I think I heard the Going Mary's English voice once, and then the episodes I got caught up in English and immediately switched to Japanese to catch back up with the rest.
Yeah. So she was Going Mary in One Piece. She was Black Star in Soul Eater. She was Pride.
Why didn't you say Soul Eater?
Because you're the One Piece guy. I gotta mess with you with One Piece.
There's like fucking 1,068 episodes, my dude.
I don't care how many. That's your problem. That's what that is.
No, it's the dub's problem because I caught up when we were barely hitting 500, so I've been caught up.
Yeah, she was Black Star in Soul Eater. She was Pride in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. The little kid.
Shit. Yeah.
Wendy from Fairy Tail. Was it you or was it Chris that liked Flip Flappers? I feel like it was you.
It was me.
Okay,
I haven't seen it dubbed.
Okay, she was Papika.
Oh.
I don't know which character that is. I haven't seen Flip Flappers.
We'll get there. It's good.
Okay. And then Kevin, she was Rimuru from Reincarnated as Slime.
See, I was looking shit up right now while he was in. I saw that. I was like, oh, hey, I know that one.
Why you gotta cheat?
Because I want to learn.
I
do
know that one.
She's acting. That's only the main notable ones that I feel like had the biggest impact. But she's a lot of roles, like a lot of main characters too. Like, I would honestly say Brittany is probably up there with Laura Bailey in terms of role count. Laura Bailey is the female. I don't want to say. I can't even remember his name. The dude who voiced Edward Elric. Vic Mignogna. I would say Laura Bailey was the female Vic Mignogna, but she's also not a piece of crap. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for people who vouch for Vic Mignogna, but I really just don't like Vic Mignogna. Not even like.
I'm surprised.
What's that?
I was gonna say I'm surprised you didn't go for Troy Baker.
See, Troy Baker is not in nearly as many roles. But then again, I actually don't even know how many roles Vic Mignogna is in. I know he does a lot of video games, or did a lot of video game stuff. Anime, his biggest one, I think, was Edward Elric, and he played it okay. I'm not gonna lie,
he was Broly too.
Oh, that's right, he was Broly in that one. Yeah, I mean, because honestly, there's really not even. I don't even think there's a male voice actor for anime that's been in as much stuff as Laura Bailey has. Maybe Troy Baker getting close.
What about Johnny Young Bosch?
Johnny Young Bosch actually does a lot more video game stuff than anime.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, no, because Steve Bloom is just in everything. You can't count him. He's everything.
Hey man, don't discount my boy because he's in everything. That motherfucker gets around for a good reason.
He's gonna. Oh God, is it? I think it's Ahsoka. He's gonna be in the Ahsoka show as his character from Star Wars Rebels, the big purple alien dude. He's excited. He's excited for that. He likes that. I'm excited for that. I love Steve Bloom. Steve Bloom, if you're watching this, I love you. Going back to our characters, because I love going on tangents. Tangents are fun. Our last main character, Zem, Father Zem. His Japanese voice actress is Shunichi Toki. Another character with a lot of person with a lot of smaller roles. However, he sings the intro.
Oh, neat.
He does music. A lot of the songs are actually pretty good too. I listened to a couple of them early. But like just a lot of small roles, which honestly, for what it was, I think the voice actors, the Japanese voice actors for sure, and the English voice actors too, they did really well with what they were given. I think they had a good cast, especially for people that are just. For a couple of these people, it seems like they're just getting into voice acting. I think they had a really good cast.
That's good.
Landon McDonald is his English voice actor, and there is again another person who I could not find anything on. I don't know.
Yeah?
I don't know what else he might have voiced. I didn't delve too hard into his stuff, but yeah, like he didn't have a page that I could find. But still, he did a pretty good job on it.
There has been a lot of breakout voice actors and actresses in the last couple of years. A lot of new talent popping up.
I want to get into voice acting, but I don't have a good voice. Anyway.
It's more acting than voice.
That's true, and I like to pretend I'm good at things like that.
Man, y'all gotta let me know when I start looking like a whore.
What?
My shirt keeps dropping. You gotta let me know when I'm looking like a whore.
Ah, no, we need some fan service, Dwayne. You know it ain't coming from me. No,
Speaking of the intro and outro, I meant to touch on this earlier. The intro, I think, is really visually, I think it's really nice. Does a good job of summarizing everything that we're about to see, and then the little predictive stuff to it. A lot of intros spoil everything if you look too hard into them, but I think it does a good job of getting its message across. The outro, though, is a crying detriment to my enjoyment of the show, because it is showing a version of the show that I would much rather watch. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that because this is bad. I'm saying it because instead of it being, I love my fantasy. I am an RPG nerd. I will take fantasy over much of anything in any way. But watching them be a startup band is so much more interesting to me than whatever is going on. I'm not gonna lie to you, Dwayne.
I wasn't sure where that was gonna go because I love the outro. I thought the song was great. I love how they were doing the weird like little cutout puppet things. I love the outro. I'm on board with that. I would absolutely watch a Ningen Fushin spin-off where they're a startup band. I think that would be very fun.
If he does a spin-off and it is just that outro where they're a startup band trying to make it in the world, fucking sign me up.
Y'all just need to watch that fucking anime where the girls are just doing metal guitars.
Bocchi the Rock?
Yeah.
Is that Bocchi the Rock?
Yeah,
I hear it's good.
Y'all just want Bocchi.
So good.
You gotta have your Bocchi.
That's going on the roulette wheel at some point.
Hell yeah. I actually want to give that show a shot. I'll make this excuse to watch that.
Yeah,
that outro rocks.
Kevin, that's the fun of it. That's what the show is about, is having us try new anime too. The intro and outro I thought were really good. I love the sound of the music. I love the visuals. I said it early on, but just the animation of the anime felt stiff at points, and some of the story beats just felt rushed, and so it was just kind of like, yeah, the characters had really good chemistry, and I liked what they were doing with, their backstory parts, but it just, to a point, I almost felt like I was forcing myself to finish it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not so much like it was bad. Like, it wasn't bad.
Mhm.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't.
It didn't grip me.
It didn't stand out. Yeah, it didn't stand out compared to other shows I watch in the genre.
Mm-hmm.
The most unique part about it was the fact that they all got screwed over and they came together over it. And yeah, that's a fun premise to start on, but you can't make that the entire show.
It's like if every guy who got summoned in Rise as a Shield hero got fucked over at the same time, and they all became homies.
Yeah.
And like, not that this is an isekai, but it kind of gives a slight isekai vibe. I love isekais. I've watched, God, how many isekais do I watch? It's insane. And I still watch
Too
more.
I was going to say too many. There's like 8 of them each season now.
That's what's selling. I mean, when Sword Art came out, how many video game themed animes and whatnots did we get?
A lot.
Which blew Sword Art out of the water quickly after that, but
fucking Sword Art.
And I'm gonna say that's not even to say Sword Art's bad. It was actually a pretty decent watch for most of it.
It's not a terrible show. It just ruins a lot of things for me.
Would I say skip the fairy arc? Absolutely, because Gun Gale Online was way better.
But the fairy arc has the best ending to an arc. You can't tell me otherwise.
Oh no,
Kev knows what I'm talking about.
Oh man, I could look. I'm still butthurt. They turned my war maiden goddess into a goddamn damsel in distress. I was so pissed about that.
Yeah, they fucked her.
That ruined it for me. That ruined it for me. I was like, man, fuck this show.
Okay, slight tangent. Kevin, I will say they gave her a good amount of justice in the what's the War of the Underworld arc? That's
Fuck if I know.
That's the one of the next seasons. Yeah, they gave
from the alkalization stuff.
Yes, that's the second half of that. They gave her some pretty good justice. Also, they got graphic with that season. Like people were like getting stabbed to the face, and they were showing everything and like losing their arms and stuff. It was graphic. I'm not gonna lie. But going back to Ningen Fushin. Yeah, overall, it wasn't a terrible anime. I'm not gonna say it was even a bad anime. It just didn't grip me. I will say it's a solid 7 out of 10. High 6, low 7 for me. I would recommend people give it a try, because maybe like you guys obviously saw, you guys liked the animation, you guys liked some of the pacing and stuff. I personally, it wasn't for me. Will I, continue it? Maybe. Depending on, because I haven't really been catching up on anything. I'm behind on a lot of shows. But it's one of those ones where I feel like I could watch it later. Like I'm not enthralled.
Yeah, you're not pressed for time to watch it. You're like, if I'm bored, I'll watch it.
Like I said, it almost felt like a chore that I had to finish it. And maybe that's also because of the fact that we are doing it for this podcast. But Trigun, Reincarnated as a Slime, I look forward to those. I'm like, oh man, it is time. I have to watch this. Like, I would absolutely binge those animes if I had the time. This one, it didn't catch me. Like, I don't know.
Okay. Oh, that's fair.
Very fair.
How about you, Kev? Did it catch you?
I'm gonna give this one a bit more of a shot. I don't have a lot of real qualms with this show so far. We've gone over all of our beats and points together, where it's got some pacing, but like some struggles here and there. I'm not gonna lie, maybe visually it's not my favorite show to watch. coming off of what we got with Trigun and G Gundam, where it's very stylized, like 80s, 90s era anime, comparing it to this, where it's a lot more of what we get nowadays. It's your bread and butter fantasy show.
Yeah, it's quite different.
Yeah, it is, but it's not bad, and I've seen stuff like this before, so I'm willing to give it a shot to see where it goes along. I mean, we've already finished 3 episodes altogether, so we've got like 9 or 10 more to go, which is pretty cool. I didn't know we only had that many, and if that's as much as we got, sure, I'll give it a watch through. What about you, bud?
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. At the end of episode 3, I was turned around on it. So episode 2 got me a lot more interested to see what they're gonna do, and then episode 3 hit me. I'm actually gonna watch more of it probably throughout the weekend. I'm gonna be busy this weekend, but I'll use it as some downtime. I'll probably swap it over to the dub, check that out. But no, I'm gonna continue it. I'm actually gonna try to finish it.
If I don't finish it this week, you guys will have to let me know how it goes.
For sure. I don't want to say I'm invested, but I am interested to see where it goes. Like I said, the second episode brought up some stuff that I really liked, and then the third episode, though much slower, because the whole episode focused on them trying to get Quran spirits back up. It did hit me it did strike a chord with me, so it got me. So I'm definitely gonna keep going.
Okay.
So where are we watching it all right now? Are we watching it mostly on Crunchyroll? Because I don't believe there's an official release.
That's the only place it's.
Yes. Ningen Fushin was actually signed off through Crunchyroll. So
was it one of Crunchyroll's exclusives?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think there's anywhere else you could watch it aside from pirate sites.
You might be able to, now that the season is over, if the DVDs and Blu-rays are available, you might be able to, through Amazon, if you rent or buy it.
And there are like tons of other websites you can go to where you can probably find it for relatively, if not similar prices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And honestly, now that some of my finances is cleared up, depending on how it goes, depending on what shows we pop up, I might look into other apps, like High Dive, because High Dive's got a lot of good anime that I want to watch. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't realize how many animes are on there that I want to see.
So slight shill for High Dive. In fact, before it fucking shit the bed, Verve was what I used to use, and it was a really good service.
It used to have it, didn't it?
At first, it had Crunchyroll and Funimation, and then, what was it? Was it Sony that bought Funimation? Whoever bought Funimation pulled out, and then Verve had High Dive. And so High Dive has a lot of the older ones that don't get picked up as easily, but they have been getting a lot more exclusive things. If you, Ryan, try to do a High Dive subscription, I might get one with you, because one of the things I keep hearing about High Dive that I'm interested in trying out, there's a watch party mode. So if we ever do something for like movie night, or if we as a whole looking to do something, we can watch party it, and it'll start it at the same time, and we'll be regardless of discrepancies in internet and stuff, it'll keep us all synced.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Because in fact, the reason I want High Dive is, one, because that's where you can watch season 4 of Danmaki. I really want to watch that because season 4 looks dope. Kevin, is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Is a really good anime. It's goofy, and a lot of people don't like the main goddess, but
what a title!
I love that show. It's fun to watch.
A lot of Americans don't like the main goddess. She was a fucking sensation over in Japan.
Oh yeah, she was a lolly with big boobs, like, Opie lolly. People love that stuff over there.
Well, I like big tits. Big tits are great.
But also because the new anime like this. Okay, this anime dropped.
Be careful with those.
I got it.
You dude,
In my
put
hand,
the
it's
scissors
not in
down,
my
man.
face.
I'm gonna get you a fidget toy, bro. That's obnoxiously scary to watch.
So this anime dropped yesterday, and already within like 6 or 7 hours of its drop, topped the My Anime list. Like, it dethroned Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Oh, is it that?
It's Oshi no
what the fuck
Ko.
is it called?
Oh my god,
Yeah,
dude!
I've been seeing some people
The
talking about it.
animation of this series, the story, everything about it, it's like, I kind of don't even want to roll for it. I just want to put it on the next week's, but I want to be fair. Because we have a lot of actually new animes on our list today. But I want to talk about Oshinoko for just a little bit because it just looks really good. Crazy enough, the reason I have it on this list is because, our normal thing is, first 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
The first episode is, according to everything I could find, is almost 90 minutes long. Which, if you do the time, is almost 5 episodes worth of content. So I'm like,
4.5.
I was like, it counts. I don't care. It counts. Because if you're watching if you're watching 4.5 episodes of one episode, I screw it. I'm gonna count it. If it was one of those shows where the episodes are 40 minutes, like The Mandalorian or Game of Thrones or whatever, I'd say the first 2 episodes should be good enough for our content. If we want to watch all 3, I'd be down with that too. But Oshinoko being 90 minutes long, and I don't know how long the next episode's going to be, but Oshinoko being 90 minutes long, like, I think that can count. I think that can get an exception, especially because, by the time we do watch it, episode 2 will be out. And I try to keep the podcast, ambiguous on when we record these and post them. It's kind of hard when because every anime on the roulette wheel this week, and this is how I kind of want to go about it. If you guys agree, taking time out of the podcast for that.
Sure.
Since spring animes just started, and most of them are now finally on their 3rd episodes. At least for maybe a month and a half, I want to do nothing but new spring anime, because that way we can also kind of see the new stuff that's coming out. But I don't want to just keep doing new stuff, because we'll never get through the spring anime by the time the summer anime starts. And then even if we're not doing second seasons or new seasons of whatever, there's still a lot of new stuff to see that So that's my take. If you guys agree with that or disagree with that, we can talk about that on the Discord. But I think that's what we should do is, only not every show, but try to fit in when we can, especially if we're going to start doing the 2 episodes we talked about, if we want to try that for next week.
Yeah, no, I'm down.
That's another thing we can try. And if it runs on too long, then we just don't do it again.
Yeah, we can talk logistics later, but I'm down for that. It'll keep us a little more in the loop too. With some of the new stuff going out, some people are going to be waiting for the whole season to drop anyway to binge it. So
yeah. And like I said, it's not like we're here doing a whole season review. We're just watching the first 3 episodes to see if it hooks us. Adjust my camera to see the roulette wheel. Oh, my Glade air freshener sprayer thingy, whatever. Fun
Will
fact.
it still spray after this?
Real quick. No, because there's nothing in it. You see that little bottle right there between the 2 Ichigos? I bought that for I bought that for a replacement for my Glade thing, and it's too short, so it doesn't fit in the Glade thing. So when it's supposed to automatically spray, it's like, and it doesn't spray it, and so it's like, you're fucking useless now.
Huh?
Dang.
I hate these stupid sprayers because every couple of years they change the size, and so the old model is obsolete. And these things aren't cheap. They're not terribly expensive, but they're not cheap either. I'm not buying a new one every goddamn. Anyway, so yeah, are we good to do 2 shows next week, or we just want to keep it to the 1?
Jesus Christ, man, that's a lot of homework. Dwayne, what do you say? I'll go with whatever you go with.
Let's do one this week, and then we can do two the week.
One
after.
more week of one. Okay.
Yeah, one more week of
One
one.
more week of one.
All right. So let me mute so I can spin this without killing my audio.
I missed the kick. That was a good spin though. Holy shit!
We'll be back.
What do we get? What do we get? What do we get?
Okay. Hold on. I want to hold on. This is
Hold
the
up.
fourth
You see it.
fucking week that it's landed on red. I'm getting kind of annoyed. Like, red is my favorite color. I'm getting a little pissed off right now.
Nah, bro, that's your favorite color, dude. This is a cinch. We're getting cinched right now, Dwayne. This is all rigged.
It's rigged. It's weighted.
I'm not even. I could be completely unfair, and I could put all my favorite anime on red too, just to fuck with you guys. But
Why'd you never get red again after that?
oh my god, wouldn't that be the shit? Yeah, I'm gonna put Bleach on red, blue. You motherfucker.
So what do we get?
Oshinoko.
Oh, okay, sure.
Was that not just the anime you were just talking about, or am I tripping?
I was literally just talking about it. You know, and I thought about that too. I'm like, I should probably not put that on red, even if I want to see it, because it's gonna fucking land on red.
There you go,
It lands on
Oshinoko.
red every fucking time. You know what it is? It's this spring. The spring is so stiff. So like, if I spin this right, if I lift up the spring and I just spin it, it'll spin. Just keep spinning.
I mean, it's got to stop somehow.
Yeah.
And then... And it still lands on red! What the fuck?!
Oh my god, we're keeping that in.
Rigged. Weighted.
Super rigged.
Conspiracy.
Shut up! I'm not trying!
Stop the vote.
Red triangles for everyone, bro. Nothing but red triangles.
Oh man. Yeah, because on the list, right, we have My Clueless First Friend, which is a really wholesome. I think they're elementary school kids. Really wholesome show. I think Kevin would get a kick out of it the most because he really liked Bochi, or not Bochi.
I think we just got the manga for that one.
Did you? Nice. Yeah, it's pretty.
I think so.
I haven't watched any of these. Like for the new season animes, I don't want to watch a single one as much as I really want to watch Hell's Paradise because that fucking thing looks so goddamn good. But I haven't watched any of these, and I'm not gonna watch them at least until after we do our rotation of the spring anime. But yeah, so I picked a bunch of the new animes that that I know I haven't seen. Dwayne, you might have seen a couple of them yet. I don't know.
Not yet, no.
Yeah, we got my Clueless First Friend, My Home Hero. This one's gonna be Kevin's, right?
Okay.
That's the one where the daughter is getting abused and the dad steps in. I think I posted a trailer for it in the anime Discord, and I think I even tagged Jacob and Patrick. I should have tagged Kevin in it because Kevin would like that one. We got Hell's Paradise, My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 99. So I try to pick a good variety. So Oshinoko. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to get a high dive now because I think that's the only place to watch it at the moment.
Is it? Let me do a little research.
Yeah, I know it's not on Crunchyroll. So we'll definitely have to figure out how we can watch that for next week. But anyway, so yeah, that's
looks like it's high dive.
That's our content right now. Any last minute things? Any little outros? I don't have a fun soda to try this time.
It's okay. I think we can say you made up for it for the extra spin that also landed on red.
Oh god,
that was pretty lol, dude.
That looked hella rigged.
All right, but I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
God.
I think we're all good for tonight, man.
All right.
I think so.
Sounds good. So we'll see everyone next week.
See you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.